I knew it was a proper mission, but you still my blood. I knew this gotta be a mission, but I got needs. I knew you was a fucking mission. You grab my hand and pull me. I knew you was a fucking mission, and you never say please. I knew you was a fucking mission, but nothing left to free. I knew you was a mission. I knew that you were me. I knew you was a fucking mission, and you changed my destiny. I knew you was a fucking mission, and I knew it gonna hurt me. I love it. I'm not the man you're trying to be, but tell me what you need. I'm so eager to please, and I know you like to tease. I get down on my knees. She said, don't look at me. And if you seen what I seen, you would believe. I know it's all my fault. I got no one else to blame, and I climb a mountain to find it just a tragedy. And every time I'm with you, I feel worth 99 feet. I don't believe in love, but I like it when it hurts. I knew you was a proper mission, man. I knew you was a fucking proper mission. I knew you was a fucking mission, but nothing left to free. I knew you was a mission. I
Oh boy. It's been a while since we've done one of these streams, Chad. It's been a while. Um, I have talked about this issue before, and finally vindication for me specifically. You guys are on something tonight. You guys are like, I never read a book. I don't who's Hank? Who's John? Who are these guys? Is this the Fine Brothers? Did they invent the first airplane? They invented the first React video. What? I thought that was Ray William Johnson. Ray William Johnson. I thought that was the guy who sang Nugget in a Biscuit. No, 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 no. You're confusing Ray William Johnson with Heinrich Himmler. That's an obvious mistake to make. Heinrich Himmler loves Nugget in a Biscuit. All right. Are these the Da Vinci Bros? Dude, you mean the Da Vinci Bros? You mean Da Vinci who painted the Mona Lisa? I don't even need to make that one into a different joke. That is the joke. Are we starting with a SciShow acknowledgement, right, boss? You know how to wear a shirt? I didn't go to the gym today. I didn't go to the gym or go for a run. Okay, I didn't do either. I am a bit still. It's not like I'm not skeptical, but I am a bit more curious. I'm being sent like pop sci articles on AI's effect on your brain, which is a conversation we could have. I am annoyed that the science, which this was published in the Asian Journal of Psychiatry. I don't know why it's Asian, though. I gotta be honest. Um, I always wanted a psychiatric article on AI. I just didn't expect it would be Chinese. I guess that's not surprising. I guess it's not surprising. Yeah, I was gonna do like this fucking there was like a Caleb Hammer video I was sent, and then I was like, I already really don't like Caleb Hammer. I'll save it for a day when I'm in a better mood. I was just in a real funk today. I was in a real funk. And I'm like, I need something like really easy. So instead, I decided to throw my hat into the ring of discussions about AI use and discourse, um, which is way easier. No, but here's the thing. I've talked about this before on stream, so it's not like I'm breaking new ground here, okay? Um, well, if it's if it's to be believed, our government thinks China is trying to stop our AI growth. I'm gonna say some I'm gonna say some very Chinese things this stream, okay? I think we all know that I'm at a Chinese time in my life, okay? I think we all know that. I think we all know. It would be really crazy if I just bust out some fucking Mandarin, right? Nice shirt today. This is the one that Cat got me. He's like, you need some shirts with buttons, brother. And then he got me this one, so I'm wearing it. I was like, I'm gonna dress nice. You know, maybe somebody will say that you look really pretty today. But it turns out that the first time I get a compliment on my outfit all day is from my fucking chat, which compliments me regardless. I'm gonna say this. Nick Green, no relation to the other Greens, made a knitting video and got a whole lot of stuff wrong about knitting, and dude said so much wrong shit in a confident douchebag tone. Was he like talking down on it? Hank Green? Oh, Hank Green. The idea that Nick is not green made a fucking uh uh Bing chilling. 等一下发吧 Bing chilling. Oh god, dude. Finally, queef jerky is back on the menu. Is today like National Girlfriend Day or something? Yet another holiday created by the woke liberal media, brother. They're trying to get you to spend your hard-earned dollary dues on her. Don't do it. Don't do it. Make that call bet, brother. Make that call. All right? You know all about the insider trading going on. It's time for you to win. Oh my god. Dude's got a history of it. Even simple facts. I had already assumed dude was using AI because he did no research. It was not even using terms that knitting uses. Why? I gotta be honest. It really depends upon the context of which knitting is being talked about, of whether or not it requires you to be an expert to talk about knitting or not. I think knitting is a really fun activity that you could use to de-stress at the end of the day. But every time I hear about knitting on the internet, it's like a bunch of stay-at-home housewives wanting to kill each other with their knitting needles. So like, you know, essentially SciShow made a video about knitting and framed it as if the scientific use of knitting is a new thing. Not to be that guy, but that is kind of what the entire YouTube channel does, right? I don't know what you
Didn't
expected.
Tom Green make Freddy Got Finger?
Did it? Yeah, everybody with the last name Green is actually related. They're actually all related. I also, and that's another thing is like, so what I was gonna say before I got like derailed, since we're just gonna get right into the topic today, because it's kind of late and I don't want to yap too much. So like, so Nick is not green is the disgraced one. It's like a sliding scale. The greens are a spectrum, you know? There's forest green on one end and then lime green on another. And all the other hexes in between. Where do you lie on the green spectrum? Post your hex codes in the chat now. Yeah, there are a lot of people behind SciShow, not just Hank. Well, you see, unfortunately, the implication of how YouTube works is that it is a monolith. Okay. I always think that's really interesting, by the way. You ever notice how the way that people talk about YouTube channels is that they're like a monolith with one person behind them? And really, there's a lot of channels that are like team efforts or like business entities rather than people, you know? Did you know there's another language from China aside from Mandarin and Cantonese? It's the Zhugan language. I know I'm walking into like, okay, so you're probably, because you're the kind of chatter who just says random shit.
In honor of the
That is
pink
definitely
shirt.
not a joke. Thank you. I was thinking I was being set up for a Sugandese nuts joke, but I don't think this is the chatter who would ever make a Sugandese nuts joke. So I think maybe I'm being double played. All right, I don't know. I don't know. I've been played. I've been played. I've been double back played, you know. Damn. I just wanted to give a fun fact. Live a little. Make a little bit of a D's nuts joke, you know. You'll enjoy it. Yeah, I think that's really indicative of the internet as a whole. I think Hank is representative of much more about like, it's like two things, right? Because I feel like you're only allowed to talk about something on the internet if you're an expert. However, experts are almost derided, right? In like the same way. So like both and neither, like you gotta be like it's almost like I don't know, it's like a performative nonchalantness where you have to be like an expert in the topic, but then also can't be an expert because then you are being an asshole because you're too knowledgeable, right? And so I think as a result, you end up with a lot of people online, and I'm speaking more like writ large, right? But think about how many people on Twitter be talking about something and they don't know anything, you know? Like, I think that is more of a people issue rather than just Hank. I'm not saying Hank is like exempt for it, but I do see it happen a lot, you know? I don't know. Based on my professional's experience, the only things I should really be talking about are movies. But who the fuck wants to go on YouTube and make another guy reviews movie channel? Horrible, horrible. But yeah, yeah. You never been alive until you successfully pulled a D's nuts joke or Joe Mama joke on someone. I mean, that's true. You only live once. What, you don't want to be another critical drinker? No. I couldn't even parlay that into something. That was like how rough it was. In the case of that TikTok girl that got popular for having those quippy half-truths and barely facts, but they were presented as science type shit. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. I don't know. It's like where's the line in the sand for that kind of thing, right? It's almost kind of like with Hank's personal channel, because SciShow and those other ones are like a different thing. Those are more like a specific aid for like very specific purposes. And those are definitely more or less companies. Like that's a company that's making that. Okay, I understand that he's like doing the hosting, but somebody definitely else is writing those things. But if we're talking about his like personal channel or his personal stuff, or he like vlogs, yeah, I think with a type of channel like that, there's almost this there is this incentive, and I do think this thing that I'm mentioning now plays into the topic that we are getting into. There's an incentive for a YouTuber like that to be an expert in everything when it is literally impossible for a science communicator to be an expert in every single thing, right? Like I like Vsauce and I like Kyle Hill or Veritasium or this, that, or the other thing. I enjoy that type of content. I find it very elucidating. But, you know, they have their personal expertise, and then they have to fill a bottomless amount of content, and that is impossible because you can't be an expert in a bottomless amount of things. So, by nature of existing for a long time, eventually that will happen, right? Because science communicator is like different from being a scientist, right? What about Vinesauce? Well, Vinesauce is just an expert in rats on the subway, you know. But it's one of those that where like I watch Kyle Hill in front of in front of the black screen with the drawings, and I watch it and I enjoy it and I feel like it's educating. But if I really think about it, not only do I not grasp the concept, I'm basically doing the Gen X and Boomer related activity of watching the History Channel. You know? It doesn't really I don't really know anything at the end of it, right? I mean, I'm sure I could learn if I like took notes and then started to really be meticulous about it, but I would be missing fundamentals that are lost by somebody who spends 8 years of their life going to get a PhD in that topic, right? And I think it's just an issue, and I also think that this is why like writing, like journalists, air quotes, like digital journalists, struggle as writers long term because there's so few beats that have, I mean, there's many beats with many interesting stories, but then in the same breath, there are many writers writing in beats that need to fill up an infinite amount of space. The internet being a bottomless hole is bad. There we go. End. Thesis statement. Boom. All right. A bottomless hole presents itself as a need to, it's a Sisyphean task. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a Sisyphean task because every time you put something out, you need to make a next thing and a next thing and a next thing. And it goes on forever. And it's an endless task. And I know we've talked about YouTuber burnout. I am that as well. It's bottomless. And so at a certain point, you have to figure out ways to keep the fucking wheels churning or get off, right? Or you're a font of infinite creativity, or you're in a niche where the new content develops for you, like tech or video games or reviews. That's why there's so many reviews on YouTube. There's nothing wrong with being casually interested in a topic. The problem when that casual interest is confused with authority and used to communicate bad info widely. Well, that's like the difficulty of what a science communicator is, right? If we talk about a guy like Bill Nye, the science guy, that's like a pre-internet, like science communicator. So Bill Nye, I don't even think Bill Nye has a PhD. Is Bill Nye an actual scientist? Hold on. I'm actually very curious. I'm gonna look him up right now. I'm on the Bill Nye. Okay, he has an education from Cornell University. He's an engineer in aeronautics. Okay, he's an engineer in aeronautics. He's an engineer. Okay. Yeah, so he's an engineer, but the things that he talks about kind of transcend that, you know, that topic, right? And that's a lot of what the YouTubers ended up carrying the torch for afterwards. You know, they carried Bill Nye's flame. Yeah. Yeah. He went to Cornell, by the way. But yeah, that's like the problem with that kind of thing. At least with syndicated like television programming, the entire operation is totally different, man. It is a shame. I think a lot of YouTubers would do really well in media, but media is such like a closed circle, incestuous pit of hell, you know? Didn't Hank Green have some drama with VidCon? Listen, you might even be referencing some ancient lore there. I do believe the Green brothers started VidCon and then sold it a long time ago. But yeah, so some of you might be unfamiliar with what is going on. So, as you might have gleamed from the chat, and you're sitting there going, Diesel, what the fuck is happening? Hank Green recently became the topic of AI discourse because he's been using it quite a bit, according to him, self-admitted. And he put out a video, and in the video, it appears as if Hank may have used AI to write his script. I always think a lot of like, it's very hard to tell whether or not AI wrote a script if a human is saying it, as long as the delivery is good. And generally speaking, I would imagine that most people read before they record. So it's hard to tell. The clip in this case is not that. It does sound very obvious. But then again, I think about it, and the way that large language models work is that they kind of synthesize the median of all human writing in existence. And so the possibility of them talking like literally anybody is quite high. It's one of those things where it's really frustrating because I read like an old book, okay? And like I'm reading I have a few books on rotation because, you know, ADHD, but I'm reading Hamlet, that's one of them. And then I also have Fight Club. And both of them, Fight Club not so much, but Hamlet definitely because it's a play. It uses the M dash. And the M dash is very important for beat delivery. Because it's a play. And when you pause in the middle of a sentence, that's where an M dash could go. You notice? Like I did that, right? Like that changes up the delivery with that M dash because it's like a half-second pause. And then the sentence or word after it has more impact, right? So the M dash is a really useful tool in a writer's arsenal because it's really good for setting pace and tone. But because of LLMs, people associate the M dash now with AI writing. When it's like, no, AIs don't write like that. Humans write like that. Humans write like that. And then like a lot of it is like if this then that statements or it's not X, it's Y. There's a lot of writing that predates AI that exists on the internet because let's be real, it's only been around for like the last 3 years in any consumer context. And even then, I would argue it wasn't really useful until the last year and a half. And the use case conversation I will get into in a second. But, you know, a lot of how we write and what we say is we already figured out how to manipulate somebody to click on an article before AI existed. So it is not surprising that AI replicates that specific kind of writing when it is writing something. It's not X, it's Y, right? Where it sets up an expectation and then turns it on its head, right? That kind of novel sentence works really well for getting somebody to click on some fucking Glupshido article, right? I only see M dashes when a sentence is being cut out. You gotta read more. You gotta read more books. I'm sorry. You know, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Yeah, it's not X, it's Y. That's a really great example of a famous one. That's a really good example of a famous one. But there's a lot of that, right? There's a lot of M dashes in English writing. Poetry is filled with M dashes. Poetry, spoken word literature or literature that has a spoken word component to its performance or its experience has a lot of M dashes. Lots of old books have M dashes. You know, Hotel Trivago. That's funny, right? And so I am even more like skeptical of people who want to call out others for like you write with AI more than the like generative artist stuff, because the way that you figure out whether or not somebody's using AI to write is lost really easily and is nearly impossible to figure out. Like as I've been writing the fucking D&D book from hell that I desperately need to finish, I'm writing it and I'm going, well, there's like a syntax and an order and there's a way you're supposed to write things for 5th edition D&D. There's a Bible, there's a style guide on how things are written. So my writing is always going to sound like that writing, even if it is my writing. So it's going to end up sounding like that, regardless. It's so funny that AI has learned our worst writing habits and is feeding it back to us. I'd imagine in a generation or two, essays written for school will likely have internet article vibes. I wouldn't be surprised. There are definitely older people and less aware individuals who have just written very obvious tells in it. There's been like reports of people writing down oh, I'm sorry for including that in my response. What I meant to say was, and then the actual post, right? So people just forget like the prompt that's there. Now, I am a techie person, right? I like using technology. I don't really use AI for like generation stuff, like fucking. And to clarify here, right? I'm like a weird freak, okay? I'm a weird freak in this regard. I like building computers. I've built computers. I like fiddling with technology. I have an old Mac, and I am going to put Linux on that Mac, and I am going to turn that Mac into a Linux machine for some fucking purpose, right? I think it will be fun. I enjoy that thing. I like fiddling with tech. I like doing that. I don't really care to use, and this has to do with like my feelings about the surveillance state. There's a lot of reasons you really shouldn't be giving your personal life to Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT or any of that stuff. And the reason is that they can take that and then immediately turn it into marketing and sell things back to you. The evil way is that Palantir is going to take that information and then use it when they build their domestic terrorist database. Okay, so those are all bad things, right? I was curious about running one on my own computer, right? Running a model on my computer. And so if you don't pay attention to any of this like tech shit at all, right? All this tech slop. And I was like, okay, fine. I will use a model that is on my computer and just runs off of the battery of the computer, right? So I put it on a Mac that I have, right? I have two Macs. I have one like I take to work and then one that is sitting in a drawer because it was my first one. And this is like a really new experience. Macs are amazing, by the way. Windows fucking sucks. At least right now, which is why I want to try out Linux to see what else is out there. So if you don't pay attention and you're just like, partially aware, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, what's another one? Those are the only ones I know of that are like American, right? ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, Meta? But they don't really like work like Gemini is very stupid. Like it replaced my Google Assistant on my phone, and now my phone's gonna turn on. Like it replaced that, and it has a lot of like worse features and is not very good. And it's also really not smart. It really isn't. It's really bad. But they like replaced my assistant against my will. Which is annoying, by the way. I want to make the decision. I want to have the choice with my software. I want to make the decision and put the shit stuff on my software myself. Grok I've never used because it's fucking Grok. ChatGPT is weirdly sycophantic, and Claude is like, if you're like, oh, I need this really specific thing, it's like good for that. But then you use it and you go, somebody's getting all this information about me, and that's even putting aside the damaging implications on a macro sense for all of this, right? And then if you pay attention to it, you might know about China. Okay? So China has also been in the AI race. And if you pay attention to Congress and the geriatrics that run our country, the conversation, and I swear that all of this is for me to like have a discussion about fucking Hank Green's goo goo gaga garbage, right? China decided to do it differently, right? So DeepSeek, Kimi is not local. That's like the only Chinese one I know that is not like you can't host it locally. So there's Kimi, there's DeepSeek, there's Qwen, there's there's so many. There's so many. Hold on, I could actually pull them up because there's a website where you could download the models onto your computer and then just run it off of your computer and nobody can see it. Oh, you can run Kimi locally. Okay. Yeah. Kimi, DeepSeek, Qwen, all of these other like Chinese models, right? And you can run them on your computer, right? And obviously okay, so there's a little bit of dispute against this. The American AI companies say that Kimi, Quen, and DeepSeek are all trained off of ChatGPT and Claude, respectively. So apparently, all of the information that was in those AIs was stolen and then used to make these AIs that run on your computer for free and without subscription, right? Okay. So there's like a whole bunch of other like technical shit. The way that they like compress data, like Chinese models don't need as much compute, and compute is basically like the how we track how powerful it is and then how much energy it's going to use up. So these like American models take up a shitload of space and use a shit ton of energy, right? But the way that they've built the Chinese ones is that you don't need a shit ton of compute, and you don't need a shit ton of energy, and you don't need to do all these specific things that make the AI expensive, okay? So they have basically made it cheaper, and the reason that they did this is so that way, like, China had trouble getting the chips that they need to make AI. So the companies in China decided to go, all right, well, if we can't do that, then we'll make really optimized software that runs really well and is actually like just kind of like actually does what it's supposed to when you use it. Yeah, iHeart Resource Management, tell me about it. It is actually crazy. So like I put, and it took fucking forever, by the way. This was super fucking annoying and complicated, and I learned a lot doing it. PewDiePie built Odysseus, which is like an interface for you to interact with your model that you host locally, and it's really good. And making that work requires like more technical know-how than you would think. And I was making it double difficult by doing it on a Mac and not on something that it would be easier to do it on. But it was a really interesting and fun experience. And the way that like AI works is like the amount of parameters it has depends on how smart it is. And not all AI are trained the same way, right? But the good thing about all these like models that you run locally is it's not going to use more power than whatever the laptop battery has or like whatever like wall outlet you got it plugged into. So you're not going to be like fucking burning down forests for it. And generally speaking, the way it was trained is going to be using less compute than whatever Claude or ChatGPT was trained to do, right? And the thing is that if you use AI to answer literally every question, that's crazy. That's crazy because that makes no sense for an item that would do something for you. It doesn't fucking do anything for you if you do that. It doesn't. You fucking make the thing confused and then it starts making connections between things that it doesn't need to make connections between, right? Like if you ask Claude about a bunch of fucking boils on your back, right? And then 4 months later, you're asking it about a recipe. It's going to be like, this recipe might be good for your boils. And it's like, yeah, I get you're keeping track of that and it's like context sensitive, but I asked for a recipe, not for something that fucking cures my boils, okay? So it's like, what are you doing? That's pointless. And a lot of the AI don't need to be like a big machine. The do everything item, right, is the fucking like the Homer Simpson car, right? Do you guys know what the Homer Simpson car is, or are we all too young for that? This chat might actually be too young for that. The Homer Simpson car is like this fucking doo-doo shit car that Homer Simpson created, okay? Or it's like the fucking weird squiggly thing from Rick and Morty that does nothing and it stretches out everywhere and stuff like that. And it's like squishy, right? Like it's an item that does nothing, right? If you have an item that does everything, it does nothing good. So you need to like do something specific. And So like it's more helpful when it's like a thing that does one specific thing rather than something that does many things at once, right? So it's like I download a model, I put it on my Mac, and I run it on my Mac, and the only thing that model does is remove the background from images, like remove the background on images. That's it. That's it. And you might be thinking, wow, that seems really fucking boring. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Okay? I didn't want to pay for Photoshop anymore. I don't want to pay for Adobe products. And so now I just have something that just removes the fucking background on an image and makes it a PNG. That's it. And then I have a separate model that doesn't like write code for me. It doesn't write code for me. I write code because I'm like following a Python book right now, right? I write the code and then the thing doesn't work. And I'm staring at the book going, I don't know what the fuck I did wrong. All the code is correct. And then the entire point of the model is just to be like, oh, it seems like you might have messed up this term with this term. Switch it out with this. Or it's like, it doesn't give me the answer. It just directs me to like, you got that wrong. Maybe you should check again. And then I can more accurately diagnose what I got wrong in the code and still actually do the work because I need something to like basically check my homework, basically, right? Because who the fuck, there's nobody else around to ask about that, right? Which again is like a really specific use case because I'm not using it for everything and I don't know why you would, right? I tried vibe coding with AI the other day. It was an interesting experience. The worst part about all these vibe coded apps, by the way, aside from the security risk behind it, the worst and most irritating fucking part of it is that every single piece of UI looks the same. Okay, Claude develops an app and it looks the same. All right, it's fucking insane how everything it makes is the same. There's a vibe coded looks maxing app from Clavicular. I know that sounds like a fucking disaster, but it looks exactly like what you would think it is. It's fucking shit. Photopea sucks. Photopea sucks. I don't like Canva. I don't pay for the subscription, but Affinity Photo is probably the best on the market. Project management, I don't think it's like very good for that. I don't think AI is very good for that. Anything that involves interacting with people on a regular basis, AI is instantaneously bad for. It doesn't understand human context or like things that are important for like emotional like regulation and any of that stuff, right? The only real like aside from the immense amount of electricity and like the carbon footprint associated with AI, the models that run on your computer, at least like it's trained and that it doesn't. You know, on your end, you're not doing that, right? Now, obviously, you're downloading it. And, you know, I don't necessarily think that the Chinese produce these models with the most ethical of intentions. Clearly, these things have all been produced and made off of the backs of millions and millions of lines of people's labor and work. But, like, I think we're way past the bubble is gonna pop. I think it's just gonna be here, right? And I don't like that. I think for a lot of people, it is not a very effective tool. I don't think it really does many of the things people think it's gonna do. And I think that a lot of the hype around it is really weird and almost sycophantic and strange. And I think any attempt to make AI a replacement for human connection is some fucking demonic power that like some billionaire wants to shove into you. So that way at some day when they live forever as an AI super entity, you have to serve them as a menial slave laborer. All right. But like there's really not yeah, Korea's bubble is already popped. We're next. And then also I would hazard a follow-up statement to that. What does it mean when something pops? What's that mean? I feel like people be saying that, but they don't know what it means. You know? Korea is I think a lot of their stuff was related to there's like a real estate component to that too. And that Korea has a traditionally much larger bear market than American investors from what I was reading. But yeah. But yeah, it's like this stuff doesn't really do the things that they keep saying it's going to do. And every single one of these billionaires who's like, AI is going to lead us to post-scarcity, libertarian abundance. Or like, they're like, oh, AI will probably kill us all. What are you fucking talking about? You fucking... It's imaginary, Sam Altman. You're imagining things. We shouldn't try regulating AI because it'll probably end the world. Fuck you. What are you fucking talking about? If everybody builds it, if anybody builds it, everybody dies. Probably one of the most ridiculously stupid fucking books ever. Jesus fucking Christ. They don't know one single trick the power plug can be pulled. But yeah, it's like a lot of these things, I feel like the real issue is that people are being... I think the most demonstrable issue for me is probably that people aren't being paid for what they've made, you know? If I wrote a book and then it was fed into an LLM and I didn't receive any kind of royalty for that, that's a problem in my eyes, for me personally. The environment isn't like high up on the list of things that I personally care about. Not to say that it's my world too, I'm living in it, I get it. I think just for me right now, the things that are more important, I would love to care about those things, but I'm not in a place where I can care about those things. And I think a lot of creatives and writers and artists are probably more in a position where $1,000 can make or break them. You know what I mean? So I think that's a little higher on the order of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for me. But yeah, it's that's really the thing that bothers me the most, you know. But these things are only good in really specific context, and outside of that, they really don't. I don't think that the prose that they produce are particularly good. I don't really think that they're particularly good script writers. I think they have a tendency to not say anything at all, because if you were to dig deeper on what they were saying, you would realize that they are kind of inept in their understanding of the eccentricities of a program or anything more specific. Yeah. Are you saying the ChatGPT flyer is bad? Say it ain't so. The crazy part is that a flyer has very little effort involved in it. So the fact that somebody never went through the effort of going on Canva or Photopea or Affinity and just like throwing one together all slapdash is quite astounding, because it's like 2 seconds. All right. Oh, and one of the other things that annoys the shit out of me, obviously the image generation, completely inexcusable. 0% room for existence. There's zero room for it to exist, period, because it's so fucking bad, right? The one thing that does really annoy the fuck out of me is like, hold on, I just drew a blank in my head. It was a long day. Fuck. What I learned in bonus school is I used Adobe products for over a decade. Okay, I've been editing in Adobe for over a decade. I've been a paying customer of Adobe for close to a decade. Actually a decade now. The industry shakeup to say that machine learning is AI is so fucking duplicitous and ridiculous, okay? And exists solely for uneducated investors, right? You pay for Adobe, well, like, I need these programs, yeah. Like, obviously, when I was younger, yeah, no shit, I pirated them, but they've developed the new programs in a way where it's very difficult to. The products on it with Adobe, so we'll go with Photoshop, for example. Image background removal was a machine learning tool, which means that it walked through the steps of experts to basically just copy that order of operations every time and do that task. It is not AI, it is like a task that it does, okay, in that specific order, which is why it makes mistakes, right? Because it does it a certain way, but it can't account for literally everything. But the background removal was always a great tool. Let's see. I think it's like the text to, not text to speech, speech to text. Speech to text is apparently machine learning as well. And then the AI boom happened, and this was about maybe 2 cycles ago on Premiere and Photoshop. And they changed these things where they said, and the tutorials explained that it was machine learning. And then they changed it, and they said, this is the AI tool. We got to increase your subscription because it's AI. And I'm like, that's not AI. I was using that before. It's not fucking AI. It wasn't AI before. Why'd you change it? Why'd you say it's this other thing? You're just lying. You're just lying and then increasing my subscription. And I know that because it was in there before and I've used it every day for the last decade. Yes. A lot of those actions did not need to be cloud-based. They moved a lot of the tools that were built into Photoshop and Premiere, and they took them out of the programs you use and put them on the cloud. They did not need to do that. They ran off of your fucking graphics card. Okay? These machines ran off of these fucking programs ran off of their graphics card. They used the graphics card in order to do those processes, but then they move it onto the cloud, and now it's slower, takes longer, and requires an internet connection? That makes no sense. And that's why I pirate it. So it's not even like they shoved in AI. They just like took out a thing that worked and replaced it with something that didn't. I don't fucking understand that, right? So that was that moment when they got rid of the background removal on Photoshop and moved it to the Adobe Sensei, which is Adobe's AI. I was like, all right, man, I gotta start seriously thinking about a replacement for this shit because this is stupid. Okay? It's like this process that would be happening instantaneously 2 versions ago now requires me to be logged into my account and talking to the cloud. Fuck you. Fuck you. That is the most annoying shit ever. I really just wanted to complain about that. It bothers the fuck out of me. Okay? Affinity is very good. Affinity is very good. Canva really wants you to use their pro features. I gotta be honest, you really don't need them. You really don't need them. There's nothing in Canva Pro that means I need to spend $10 a month. There's really not. The background image deletion, I could do with another program. What is it? 1 extra step in my workflow? It's really no time. It's really no time. You know, the only problem with Affinity is that I don't fucking understand how it works yet. But I've been building and using Affinity now for a little bit. It's okay. I like it. It's great. But yeah, it's like... Yeah, Affinity literally made vectors easy for me to use, lol. Yeah. Yeah, Affinity's like whole um their layout portion, which is the one that it's their version of InDesign, fucking phenomenally good. Okay. DaVinci, guys, DaVinci Resolve is so amazing. I know people love GIMP, by the way. You guys like cock and ball torture, okay? That's why it's called GIMP. Okay? Fuck, dude. I'm being forced to learn Affinity because they're getting rid of... I taught myself Publisher. Okay? I taught myself Publisher. And then I'm like, I can't fucking stand this, and I understand the program. I understand the program, and I fucking hate it. And then I was like, I need to find something else. And I saw Affinity Publisher. I got Affinity Publisher. And then they made Affinity free, and I was a little mad. But then they refunded me. They fucking refunded me. But yeah, it was yeah. There's just no reason. There's no reason. There's a lot of products like that now that are just like, what if we made it AI? What if we made it AI? We know this wasn't AI before, but what if we put the words AI on it? And it's like, what are you doing? There's a lot of stuff like that that's very annoying and very frustrating. And I am a bit like the entire like discourse online around AI is very, very toxic and terrible. And it's very fucking like irritating. So I could imagine me even being like these specific use cases, right? Where it's like, okay, look, man, I'm trying to like minimize what I'm doing that is like bad. I understand that these things are trained off of people's work, but I'm not trying to increase my fucking carbon footprint, even though yada yada, we know that was made by the oil companies, yada yada yada. But like I'm aware of that. Something, no ethical consumption under capitalism, something, right? All that shit. But it's like, these are things that I like use very specifically for work. And it's like, I need to fill out, like, I need to like get rid of the things that are like seriously causing grief in my life. Adobe is one of them. Which was, again, that was my primary reason for why I'm like, let me try and get a local model to run on my MacBook. Let me see what this does now that I have it here. And local models, they don't know anything because they're not attached to the internet. They have whatever parameters that they learned and then nothing beyond that. And so you need to give them access to the internet. And then it just runs off of your fucking browser, right? And it's like going from your computer online, right? And so it's not like, it's crazy that these things are monthly subscriptions. I can't imagine paying for fucking Claude Premium. That's crazy. That's crazy. ChatGPT Pro. I don't even know what these things are called. Grokify. It's crazy. How could why would you spend the money on that when you could get the same thing for free? I don't understand. You just don't have an AI server, lol. Dirty 90s aren't that expensive anymore. I would love to build one and have something like that in my house. So that way I could, like, ping my personal home server. That would be sick. That would be sick. I'd love to do that. It would be so fucking cool.
You might like Krita more than GMP.
I've used Krita before. Krita's okay. I think right now I'm good with Affinity. It works fast enough. It's literally called Super Grok. That's super cringe. I'm still confused. What did Hank do? That's right. Anyway, I gotta get back to it. Get back to it. I'll play we're gonna be looking at Internet Versus again. Thank you for the way to circle back around. But yeah, Dream. I want to build my own personal server at some point because I want to be able to host my own Netflix, host my own. Have my own network level ad block. Fuck, that would be so sick. That would be so sick to have my own like ad blocker built into my Wi-Fi router so none of my fucking services have ads. That would be so fucking sick, dude. This is super fucking nerdy, and I would love to do it. I know I could do it with a Raspberry Pi, but I would like to have something that I could like scale up. I know I could scale up a Raspberry Pi, but just like something I could put in like a tower or like a stack, you know. I do need to set up a fucking Raspberry Pi. I think if I got a Raspberry Pi, I would just turn it into like a retro game machine though. You know? Any old computer you have lying around, a few drives, Proximox Unraid. Yeah, I know. I gotta do it. Let me. Fuck, I don't have like. I might have enough Windows parts to do something like that, or just regular part. I have the MacBook Air, but that's not gonna work for it. I'm going to turn it into a Linux machine, though. That's happening. I'm doing that. This is so fucking nerdy. This is like the most like nerdy I've talked on stream ever. I'm not even gonna lie. I just set up my home network. It's so awesome. Oh fuck, dude. Home networking is so fucking thick, dude. Oh fuck. I got my own fucking Netflix built into my fucking Wi-Fi. Oh shit. Anyway, this is the Internet Versus. Grab the clip, and so here's the clip in question. And it's really turning me on too. You guys are crazy. That's fucking crazy. All right, here's the clip in question. I did laugh very hard when I heard this the first time.
It starts when Dunwick, a reader, posts in the HBomber Guy subreddit. Hank Green accidentally reads AI prompt feedback left.
Where did you learn all this nerdy stuff? I started teaching myself Python, and then it like went down a rabbit hole of like what different people are doing to like unplug from like the subscription network services hell. This is all downstream of my own personal beliefs that everything is fucking gouging us for prices and yada yada yada, right? Everything is at least 2 degrees of separation away from third spaces, all right?
His script, attaching this clip.
There's a thing in there that matters, and that's very cool. A better way to say it. And I appreciate the push.
It's still funny reading it and listening to it a second time. So I would love to know whether or not this was taken out of context or not. I do believe he took the video down, but the first one, I don't really hear it, right?
Hank Green accidentally reads AI prompt feedback left in his script, attaching this clip.
There's a
thing in there that matters, and that's very cool. That just sounds like a sentence, right? Like that just sounds like a normal sentence.
thing in there that matters, and that's very cool. A better way.
But the this one here, a better way to say it, and I appreciate the pushback. That straight up sounds like ChatGPT, dude. That sounds like ChatGPT. I don't want to be that guy that's like, we're being so reductive. But then also, in the same breath, he did just say it, right? So... yeah, it would have been... I'm sorry, as a large language model type answer, yeah.
To say it, and I appreciate the pushback, is a human invention.
I need more context around it. I think I'm also poison pilled because it was put on the HBomber Guy subreddit.
And human inventions are made by bots.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a robot. No human would tell you they appreciate the pushback.
Bodies and brains working together with the systems that they have, including the sounds that they make and how that feels inside of the brain.
And Hipster Shy replies, it really sucks to see this happening to him, even from a distance. Hank and John are 2 people I hold in high esteem for how they took being some of the earliest YouTube superstars, and instead of immediately cashing in, decided to build a genuine young adult educational network out of it, while also going honest to God good faith side projects that netted them a living. Hank has always been the CEO, wow, look at me, between the two, but I can't imagine the money has been too great recently. AI has to feel like a really good trade-off to keep his brand going, while still letting him focus on the business. He's wrong, of course, but I hope he realizes it in time to make the correct.
Yeah, you really don't need... I don't know. I know my business is like one very particular business, but you don't need AI to run a business. You don't.
Direction. And Lord Emrys replies, Hank has definitely used AI before, like his recent projects on his website.
Like everything I've used has just been like, wouldn't this be fun if... Or it's like, wouldn't this be very helpful if... It's not like it would make or break anything.
Mr. Shy says, there's been a whole...
But yeah, that's the Reddit reacts, but we'll just go to Hank's response. and I'll read it myself so that way we don't have to listen to Connor. And this all, to bring it all big around in a big fucking fuck you circle, okay? Remember how I mentioned the internet is a bottomless hole where you gotta fill in everything forever? I usually consult the voices in my head for business advice. I would actually recommend against that as somebody who deals with that. But Hank responds to the allegations of AI. So the AI you use is basically Clippy the Paperclip. Yeah, Clippy the Paperclip if you could remove the background on images. That's really what it does. That's what I use most of the time. It's like, hey, machine, remove the background on this image. It's like, what? That's you. That's why you exist. Okay, if Roko's Basilisk was real, which it's not, and it's still the same stupid fucking book, okay, I would definitely be put in the machine that makes me have no mouth and must scream. Anyway, Hank responded, I produced this under a ton of pressure, so I went and checked my process from start to finish. I did use ChatGPT for research on this script, and watching it, it definitely gets an AI feel. So I think it's fair to say I was relying too much on generated notes. That's the thing I've been doing, and it's a bad habit at the time that I've overcommitted myself. So he's like, you know what? You know what's even crazier? You know what's even crazier? Hank is like, yeah, I used ChatGPT for research. I didn't write, or I did write everything though, right? It's like, so those sentences, those weird sentences, you were like, you wrote those yourself. ChatGPT is awful for research. One of the things that I've realized is like, if an AI can't provide a source with a link for you to look at the information, it might as well not be real. Okay? And the people who seriously talk to these machines and think that they're alive are stupid or severely misunderstanding the technology. You know? Just Google. Yeah, well, Google sucks. I will say that. It's like really awful now, specifically with that, right? Hank is such a dork. I could imagine him saying that stuff out loud. Yeah, I know. That's... I just find it weird that he, like... It's almost like his word... Like, he worded it that way? He worded it? Like, it sounds strange. And you're just like, he wrote it himself. What? Yeah, Google made their search bar not work somehow. Well, if you guys notice on stream, if you ever see the search that I have, it's like a European like information tracking search that I have. And obviously I'm on a Chromium based browser, but like, look, man, you got two options, Chromium or Firefox. All right. And I've been having some issues with Firefox, and I like Vivaldi, by the way. Fucking, I'm like one of 5 people who uses the Vivaldi browser. So learning that thing you need in your Google searches really does help. Learning how, yeah, you need to know Google dorking. You need to use Google dorking for literally everything, okay? You use Google dorking for everything. Or that's what they called it, is Google dorking. I guess that's just how you use it now. But there's a whole bunch of like search operators you can put into Google that change how it works. I should mention that you could do that on any search engine now. But yeah, like I can't imagine a use case if you don't have the source, really. And as long as it provides a source with a clickable link, being able to fact check that on the fly is really important, I think. And there's like an AI wrapper called like Perplexity that fucking will tell you what it's sourcing. But then I think that's also owned by Peter Thiel or something. Time to go back to Safari. As a Apple Andy, I gotta be honest, Safari's kind of gas too. I think if you're gonna be searching up things and have to triple check your AI anyway, you could just skip the AI middleman and save the tree in some water. If you can get like a series of sources related to a topic and it provides a sources for each, that's decent. But the question is whether or not the sources actually exist or not, which is really the main issue, right? But again, that's like by now we're already getting into like a really niche circumstance that I think transcends the average consumer, right? Like these very specific use cases do not represent the average person using these things, I think. I just don't see, that's not how people seem to be using them, right? Like the conversation we're having now is already like beyond the pale of normal discussion about AI. Like let's see. Overcommitted myself, but I just went to the notes and the script for this, and neither contain "I appreciate the pushback" line. So that particular moment was an ad lib in reference to my guests pushing back on me saying that words are purely made up. I think Hank Green has existed long enough that he deserves the grace to at least say, "Yeah, man, I just said that." I do love. It's so interesting because there's a possibility that he developed that as like a response quirk from AI, but in the same breath he could have just had that, and AI is just re-representing a response quirk that many people could have. So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The "I appreciate the pushback" or the AI, right? That's very interesting. That is a crazy ad lib though. That's a crazy one. Like I just love that. That's so fucking strange. God. Hank responded. I will read the response in a little bit. What YouTuber in our circle first do you think is going to go all AI psychosis first? That's a great question. I don't know. AI, like, there was this implication that Hank is suffering from, like, you know, a dopamine overdose from AI, which is not how dopamine works, okay? Like... Hot take, a lot of AI tools and the outputs you get from them reflect the qualities of the person using them, and that's why so many people hate them after trying them. I think it's like... I think the ones that... Because I think the main thing for a lot of people, if you put slop in, you get slop out. Yeah, because like what you put into an AI is how it's going to respond to you as well, right? Which is like where I mentioned if you talk about your boils, it might mention those in context. Like it's going to use the context of things that it used previously to answer questions in the future, right? And those things are going to make a difference demonstrably in all of that. Every time Hank Green shows up in my home feed, I have to remind YouTube not to recommend it. Some of you guys have some serious opinions about fucking Hank Green. I'm so ambivalent about it. Yeah, I think like the AI psychosis thing isn't like, because the implication with Hank is that it's like dopamine related, and that's not how dopamine works, right? That's just not. It's like pop psychology and how it works. But when AI is like sycophantically telling you you're a genius and gassing you up, and then it's like a self-reoccurring loop where the person is like, "Oh, I'm a genius," and it's like, "Yeah, you're a genius," and then it develops into this person having some weird attachment to the AI where they think they're seeing shapes and letters in the sky. That's something completely different than like dopamine or whatever. And I also would argue that there's probably a lot of people with unaddressed mental illness that are existing and coasting by and high functioning and not on the receiving end of some specific mental illness until something knocks the loose brick out from the foundation of the building, right? Like, someone could be like living with a disorder their entire life and not really have to deal with the consequences, and then they get in like an accident or something, and then all of a sudden it's like a billion times worse. Let's see. Everybody's like, gosh, I would love one. And then Hank responded to it. And Hank responds, 3 things to start. 1, I'm mortified that I have let so many people down, and I think I understand how that happened. 2, I'm going to change things about how I make stuff. Complexity is AI policy. So complexity is public and well considered and adhered to by the whole team. I think it's worth reading. Complexity is a nonprofit that makes Crash Course and SciShow and a bunch of other stuff that I do not write for. They should bring back House and do an AI psychosis episode like that. Ever since somebody told me that House is just Sherlock Holmes, but in a hospital, I haven't been able to like look at it the same way. And I can imagine that with that episode in my head. I also, I think it's not surprising that a lot of these tech-focused people are the ones that are like, I have AI psychosis, right? These like cybersecurity people or like the crypto people, because there's already like a lot of woo-woo there for some reason. There's some like weird overlap between esoteric Gnostic belief and programming. I don't know what it is about people that go into programming, but they're either like the staunchest atheist ever or the biggest fucking witch that you've ever met. Okay? Or like do some fucking, I don't know, Gnostic mysticism. And then as a result, they are more likely to just believe that the AI is actually alive. I don't know what the overlap there is. Somebody smarter than me is gonna break into that one, but it is a lot. The is a not-for-profit that makes Crash Courses, SciShow, and a bunch of other stuff that I do not write for. The thing that everything we do is based on is that you know that what I'm saying are my thoughts and coming from my brain in the way I decide. I have made that harder, and I'm sorry. I've been relying too heavily on AI as a research aid. It can be very useful for this task, giving me access to a lot of papers I didn't know really fast. This is real actual complaint I have is that too many journals put their papers behind paywalls. Like the Asian Journal of Psychiatry, I would love to read this paper, but I can't because I don't have the rights because I'm not in a research organization or anything more specific. We're one solar flare away from Tech Priest. I think we're already there. I think there are some people that are actually like that. All right. I think it exists. You don't see it. All right. But there are definite cabals in Silicon Valley that are that bad, I think. But like, I would like to read this. I would like to read the whole one. It like, this is a topic I'm of course interested in, and I would love to know more. But I can't. And it's a shame that a lot of this like information is gatekept or put behind a paywall. And then I have to go through like, other means to go find it. Of course I could go find it. I'm certain I could if I go onto the other places online. And I totally think that it is totally okay if you do that. Right? So it's just annoying that AI has become the de facto way to do it because people are afraid of piracy. And people shouldn't have to go to piracy. I think a lot of that stuff should be accessible. I think, this stuff makes you smarter. You should be able to read these papers. You should be able to get these papers from various different places and be able to get all of these different opinions from educated doctors, right? And to be able to read their thoughts. Having more information that is more readily accessible, so that way you could be a more enlightened and engaged reader in person, is good. Yeah, but money. Well, it's like, it's two things, right? Like, I would assume that a lot of those researchers are paid for by a grant for whatever university or lab that they work for, right? If not, and it's paid for by the private sector, you know, it's like they should be making an income. I do wonder how much of the money the authors of this volume get versus the publisher, right? Point is I think you should be able to have access to these things more readily. It was one of my favorite things about being in university, that I could just read papers from different journals. And I read a lot of different media criticism journals. They're all bad. That's the answer. That's it. Let's see. Giving me access to a lot of papers I didn't know existed really fast, but I think that has been to the detriment of my work, because it has not given me the freedom to find all my own ways into and around a topic. And like I said, not to belabor the point, but it is annoying that so much information is gatekept, and then the only thing that can access it is these data scraping AI, because they get around it by being data scraping AI, right? But for clarity, the original claims in my videos are not ChatGPT said this. I've been using AI to locate papers and other resources for learning about topics. You're still getting my takes based on what I read, know, and learn. I think that people have said this in this thread about me diluting myself on the spot. Ultimately, what I am most scared of is ruining myself for people. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I guess you could have ended the entire thing up here, right? Because then after it becomes kind of like you're self-flagellating yourself. I think just on you being somebody who uses AI, period, you're going to immediately turn people off, right? Like me going through the work and being like, oh, what I see that PewDiePie is doing is very interesting with AI. It's not like he's trying to, like, you know, he's not trying to rewrite the social ills of it. Like, the information it took is already bad. No one's saying that it's not. The people who had their information taken from them and then used to train an AI should be compensated. AI uses way too much fucking tech and is way too bad for the planet, and we need a better way to do it. We need ways to circumvent, like, we shouldn't be using gas generators for all these fucking data centers. We could have it all. We could have fucking solar panels on the fucking data centers. They could be powered by fucking nuclear energy. All right, we don't need this, right? There are better ways, but we don't live in that world, and it's very fucking annoying and frustrating. And I wish it was the case, and it's like, it's not that, and it's very I fucking hate that. I've talked about that shit endlessly on these streams. Okay, but like, you know, you, like, even me saying, like, I use it for this very specific thing, and it's a model that I run on my own computer so it doesn't waste more electricity. Doesn't matter. Some people are still gonna have issues with that, right? So, like, it's always gonna bother some people. Have you looked into the details of the OpenAI Hugging Face hack, by the way? I heard about it, right? Is that that's the one where the, like, ChatGPT got access to the internet and then it went to Hugging Face, right? Or something like that. Like, a lot of those, like, if any news comes from, like, OpenAI said their AI did this, then I usually think that's a fucking ad. That's them doing some fucking guerrilla marketing, right? That's every time I hear, like, Claude Code found 0-day vulnerabilities in this software, I'm always like, yeah, but, like, how old is the software? And also, are they, like, actually taking care of it? I'm beginning to think, like, maybe Dario Amadei is actually just, like, a fucking idiot. You should really read about that. It's genuinely terrifying. I gotta take a look at it. I think what people have said in this thread about me diluting myself and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't, like, Hank, what are you doing? But I have not been managing my impulses well. You need to know that my words are mine. I don't think that this hasn't been true, but I've been moving so fast that my own process isn't actually clear to me, and I want to have it be a guarantee moving forward. I don't know, like, if you're the person who writes things and you're like a person who writes, do you have like a dead set process? Because I feel like I write everything differently. Everything I write, I do a little differently. Like, I don't think I have like one process. There's no like one mode, you know? Yeah, nuclear power is based, actually. We should have more. We should have more nuclear power. And we should reduce your electricity bills. I think electricity should be cheaper, cleaner, and more abundant. Say it. Let's see. What I can't guarantee, though, is that we will agree about this technology or what to do with it. I think that it's good. We need lots of kinds of folks critiquing this technology. I'm not a pure AI hater, which people in the AI industry know. So when I say these models were trained, so when I say that the way these models were trained deeply disturbs me, that lands differently. Yeah, well, I don't really think that people are really interested in a nuanced conversation, quite frankly. Like, if you put a gun to my head right now and you were like, Diesel, you can't fucking be a fence sitter Andy on this. Not that I'm being a fence sitter, it's just that my take isn't the normal one, I guess, right? Diesel, you fucking pick a side. I guess I would pick get rid of ChatGPT, get rid of AI, sure. Like, it won't change how I do my day-to-day work, right? It makes up a very small function of a very small thing, and then otherwise exists as like a fun little side thing. You're starting to sound like a communist, an enemy of the state. How can I? I run a business. When I say that I think the speed at which these companies are trying to consolidate economic power should freak everyone out in the world, that's coming from someone who has quote-unquote nuanced takes. I think that Sam Altman should be put in a big fucking industrial comedy-sized cheese grater, personally. But that's just because he's a liar, little Andy. That's probably the worst part. All right, the only guy who could go bar for him on undelivered promises is Elon Musk. Remember when Elon Musk said we'd get to Mars, and now the best we get is Grok AI undressing women on Twitter.com? Let's see. When I say I worry about climate impacts of this rollout, that is not me saying I don't think this tech should ever exist. It's me saying, for God's sake, please don't make our biggest problem worse. Ay. It is very likely that you, the reader, and I disagree on how or even whether AI should be used. I think that makes the sense for disagreement to exist, but I have always believed that my audience is more likely to be right than I am. I think for a lot of people, the issue is that AI is being used to produce like a lot of slop. You know, it's really annoying because like I'll go to like, all right, I need an image to make a thumbnail, right? And it's like I'm doing like a D&D thumbnail, and so I don't want to use AI in any of that stuff, right? I've gone and put a specific line in the sand where it's like never, no, right? And so I'm like, all right, I need to find official artwork or artwork that's totally cool. Put Sam Altman in a big aquarium. Yeah, AI has helped scientific research a ton by being able to process massive data sets. Do you guys remember that program that NVIDIA had where you could like give a part of your GPU to help with like protein folding research, right? Or to like you could give a part of your GPU to help with sequencing COVID. You guys remember stuff like that? Now it would just be like give a part of your GPU to make fucking Sam Altman $5 richer. How can you fence it on this? Don't you know that every time you message ChatGPT, it uses 10 squigillions gallons of water and kills a puppy? But I've also believed that my audience is more likely to be right than I am. Like, have you guys seen all those like YouTube channels where it's like fall asleep to fucking history facts and it's like an AI voice, and then you like listen to it, and I've like listened to one of those, and then after a while the facts are just not real. They just be making shit up. They're just saying lies. But assumedly I'd be asleep. But that's what happens when you try to make a 4-hour sleep video of history facts. And I'm so sorry for diluting myself in this way and harming the thing that we have all built together. I think that celebrities, I don't know if I would call Hank Green a celebrity, but I think that celebrities need to stop saying things like, I love my fans and we built this together. I am vain and self-centered enough to say that I built my platform myself. That I'm the main character and I'm the prettiest princess in all the land. As for the why don't you just make less? No one is making you do this. I'm not sure that's how I work. I've been feeling pressure of, oh, I have this little video idea. I need to get it out real fast so I can get onto the more important stuff. And I create when I feel that pressure. I think that a lot of YouTubers feel this, right? People need bitches to lie to them to fall asleep. There's a market for that. I could do that. Yeah. I've been looking for a bad bitch to whisper sweet nothings in my ear to fall asleep for years. I this is like a fucking batshit. This is a crank take. I have a crank take. But like the concept of jerking off to AI generated porn is absolutely horrifying to me. I know that I'm aping a Northern Lion bit now because I talked about it last stream. But like the concept of there being like some fucking boomer out there who just cranked his hog to like an AI generated image of Sydney Sweeney or something is just the most horrifying thing ever, dude. Like I want my fucking porn made with a deep loathing for the customer. All right, and AI just can't really represent that. Oh shit. See, my favorite sleep aid video is giant fan in a cave at 432 hertz. God. But yeah, I think a lot of YouTubers have this. I have too. I've been trying to not have this. I made YouTube a humongous part of my life for years, and I'm noticing that it made me have like a really huge social deficit as a person. And I'm really trying to like undo that. But there's this weird like pressure and expectation by the analytics, by the system behind the screen that makes you feel like you need to keep making stuff forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You need to make more, you need to make better, and you need to make faster. I don't know how much of that is just me staring at the numbers on the back end versus like something Protestant work ethic, but it's really fucking awful and I hate it. And it's such a shit feeling. And trying to develop like a healthy relationship with it is very difficult. The fact that Hank Green says I have this is something that Hank Green says he experiences. It is clearly a universal YouTuber ass experience. But like, I don't know, man. We need to do something about it. But maybe making more things does not make better things. It does not make the big thing that we've been doing for 20 years better. I know that I can manage myself more effectively. I don't know how much more effectively you need to manage yourself. I don't think the answer to anything, not to be a philosophical guy in a pink t-shirt, but you know, maybe we don't need to manage ourselves more efficiently or effectively. Maybe we need to dilly-dally more, you know? Was a man meant to work 40 hours a week, or was he meant to work 20 hours a week and then frolic for the other 20? You know, that's the real question. I pick the man who frolics, is what I'm saying. Pick the frolicker. You've already made a generational amount of money, Hank Green. All right, it's time to frolic. I want to make videos like the one I made yesterday on Hake's channel, where the writing was the whole thing, and I felt all the way down, and have been so enriched by the people's responses to it. And sure, I'm probably going to make dumb, unscripted, straight-to-camera thought videos sometimes, and then I'll play connections. But mostly I need to come to terms with the fact that the level of dopamine I've been getting from interacting with LLMs, with doing more and more and more, is not healthy for me or good for the world. It's careless and has disconnected me from where people are on this. All right. I would argue this, because I see this come from a lot of people, and I don't know what this is very much representative of, but I guess that's really what I was getting at with the whole, like, we keep pushing ourselves to be more productive. Like, how much more productive can we as a society be? Is it really productive to be so productive? Like, okay, maybe AI does make us more productive. How much more productive do we need to be? If we're talking about the United States specifically, we're fucking so fucking productive, guy. Maybe we don't need to be so fucking productive. All right? This constant, overwhelming societal expectation to produce, perform. Fucking Jesus Christ, dude. We like less. I'm actually like a European smoking a cigarette at heart. Okay, forced to live in New York. But every time I see that, the biggest like argument I see, and probably the one that comes the most frequently from like the corporate universe, is that AI will make the employees more productive. But by now, we have a lot of answers that say no, and the metrics of which we tested that out are wrong. Like Meta had a leaderboard, right? And the employees who used AI the most went to the top of the leaderboard, and everybody could see it. So what employees at Meta did is they gamed the system, and they found out ways to use the AI to generate the most amount of AI tokens, because the amount of AI tokens being used was how they denoted productivity in that job. And all it did was cost the company a shit ton of money, which I ain't spilling over. I ain't crying over spilt milk for fucking Mark Zuckerberg, okay? But I do think it is very funny that these 6-figure earning employees at Meta went, fuck, I gotta use AI now, and then decided, hey, AI, burn as many tokens as possible. So, like, all the productivity was false, right? All the productivity was false. It wasn't real productivity. At what point does checking your email go from a productive activity to a time-wasting exercise that you use in the office because you're forced to be there 8 hours a day? All right? Like, I don't work in a position where I could, like, not be at my job, but I know people who work in corporate, and they make really good money. They do not need to be there 5 days a week, 9 to 5. They don't. They don't have enough work. I do beta testing at my job, and I'm faster than the AI we use. That's not surprising. I'd argue that productivity increases naturally when people rest more. I would argue that is true, absolutely. But more so than that, I believe that people are more productive when they have a larger amount of time to enjoy life as well. So it's not even like rest, but like quantifiable good experiences that make life more meaningful lead to people producing better work. And it's not like, I'm not talking about work-life balance, okay? Because work should not be your life, and it shouldn't. You don't have two separate ones, okay? They exist with each other. Yeah, humans are always going to seek to gain the most while doing the least. Yeah, is it a Sid Meier quote? Or like, there's some fucking game developer that's like, the gamers will always try to optimize the fun out of everything. Why the fuck wouldn't we try to optimize our productivity or falsify our productivity in order to get bonuses? Why the fuck wouldn't we? But I mostly need to come to terms with the fact that the level of dopamine, and then yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning of the stream, where this whole like thing about dopamine is just wrong. It's just not it. Because if that was the, like, if LLMs are truly these dopamine fucking slot machines, right? Why am I, a person with ADHD, not really drawn to them, really? Like, I've talked about, like, oh, I did this weird little project. But I don't, like the concept of spending 8 hours a day talking to ChatGPT is weird. Why would you, you know? My boss is based and pays me salary so long as I get my work done for the week. And I show up late or not even show up at all some days. That's so fucking based. That's so fucking based. More workspaces need to be like that. The amount of like places that are like, I want to see you here. Weirdo? Like, what are you talking about? Boomer ass manager. Bro does not understand that we live in a fucking digital world. Like, I don't know. It's like I'm not really engaging with that tech that way. And I don't know if dopamine is what I'd use. I'd argue that these things kind of like, for a lot of people, like the Kendras of the world, they're looking for validation. And they're looking for validation that is reaffirming and non-combative. I think a lot of people that fall into the quote-unquote AI psychosis thing are people that don't have a lot of meaningful agency over their life. And so they go to the AI looking for that and also looking for reassurance. And as a result, they end up being inundated with the "you're the specialist person who ever existed," and it gets worse and worse and worse. So I don't know if it's dopamine. I'd argue there's like a deeper, more philosophical implication behind why people are reaching to AI, right? Is like it's an easy relationship that's never going to argue against you. And is never going to push back on your worst traits, you know? Like the garbage in, garbage out thing earlier, right? It's always going to reaffirm your worst traits. So, I don't know. I think it's more that than dopamine, if anything. But maybe I'm wrong, right? Finding out dopamine addiction isn't a thing has been great. You know how fucking irritating it is when I see another fucking self-help video on YouTube, right? Because obviously I look these things up because I like being optimal. I enjoy using Obsidian for my fucking digital notes. I like having a to-do list. I like all these things. And obviously, you know, with my life experience, I need stuff like that, right? It's so fucking annoying to be like, you have a limited amount of this. You have a blah, blah. It's not fucking true. These people don't know what they're fucking talking about. Yeah, I have ADHD and I do not receive dopamine from AI chats. Like, I know that AI chats don't do that, but scrolling social media does. Short form content does. For me, maybe it's the oppositional defiance. You go, girl. You go. Yeah, but the dopamine addiction thing, dude, the dopamine detox guys, I'm like, I fucking hate you. It's like a guy's like, I have a really bad relationship with porn. I watch porn every day. It's like, oh, you watch porn every day. Okay, not to get inside your own head, but do you lack meaningful connection? And the reason that you're watching porn is because you don't have intimacy in your life, and you're like really reaching out for that by watching porn all the time. Oh no, it's just because it's very arousing and erotic. Okay, oh, okay, whatever. Sure. Obsidian is great. Yeah, Obsidian is really good. Obsidian is really good. I really like Obsidian. I've been using it a lot more, and I've been getting a lot better at writing my notes in it. And there's something really satisfying about writing a note in Obsidian. I'm literally talking about a digital journal. God, I'm such a fucking dork. God, I'm such a fat fucking chud. Ugh. But a lot of these things where the like a guy, and it's usually a guy that do this, because men be like, I need to stop saying be like. I'm talking weird lately. I need to stop doing that. But there are a lot of people, and it's usually dudes making this type of content, where they're talking about how they spend all this time on social media, they're gooning too much, they're doing all of these things that are bad for them, and they're like gaming too late. And then the more I think about it, the more it's like, no, bro, you're like a gym cell, okay? You go to the gym, you go to work, and then you come home and you goon, and then you game, and then you sleep, and then you do it again. It's because you don't have anything going on in your life. And my life be like, ooh, ah. I like Grammarly because I come off like an asshole in emails. Every time I write in like a sentence with Grammarly, it's always like, maybe you want to sound less aggressive. Maybe you want to sound more conversational. My strong sense of justice and my autism keeps my ADHD away from AI dopamine. Yeah, but I bet it makes organizing hella confusing for you, huh? I bet you like really having things in order, but then also can't muster up the energy or focus to put things in order. I can make this sound more outgoing. No, this is a work email. Yeah, sometimes someone's life does have their steak being too juicy and their lobster too buttery. That's why, yeah, anytime I see those, like, you know, dopamine detox guys, obviously I think you should at least try to exhibit some self-control over your behavior in life, right? Like, I chose to stream instead of game because I wanted to make money, you know? Like, I made a conscientious decision to do that, but there was a part of my fucking reptilian brain that was like, oh, you should play Risk of Rain 2. Wouldn't it be so fun if we gamed and then jerked off? And I had to fight that. I had to fight that and go, I should stream. Dopamine detox for me is my ADHD meds wearing off. Yeah, it's really crazy how much I was able to get done once I finally got medicated. It was almost like obviously it is these dang phones, because like I put in a lot of effort to putting this shit away from me when I'm like working. But it's crazy how much easier it got once I was medicated. I was talking about this with Catherine last night, and she did not pull any punches. Frankly, neither did John. Neither of them think I've been healthy. I need to readjust. You like Risk of Rain 2 that much, huh? Dude, I've been playing a lot of Risk of Rain 2 lately. I'm going to play Risk of Rain 2 after I finish stream. I'm not going to jerk off. I'm not going to do both those things at the same time. That's crazy. So what changes? Expect less. Hank's channel may need a pause for a while. It may be that Hank's channel comes back with writing and research support. It may be an alt. It may be Yeah, it goes back with fewer videos. I'm gonna spend time finishing a video I've been working on for ages, but I think that that I think really, really matters. Damn. Yeah, see, like I think a lot of this is indicative of a YouTuber's like incessant need to constantly produce. Like I feel like Hank's use of AI is him using it as a crutch because he needs to feel productive, like he's constantly rushing for a new video. And I think a lot of YouTubers feel that. So I could understand why a YouTuber would fall to using AI for literally everything. Because they feel like they need to quote unquote keep up. And yeah, man, I wish YouTube existed in a way where I didn't have to like fucking beat myself up for taking a day off. It's so awful. I hate it. I don't know what fucking part of my soul makes me do that or what the systems at play make me do that, but I remember I was talking with somebody and they were like, well, like you know, why do you stream? And I'm like, it is the most intoxicating experience ever. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's just like there's nothing better than having random strangers from the internet give you a compliment, but in the same breath, none of those compliments mean anything. But it still feels good. Because you like interacting with us, right? Well, I just kind of described you like a drug, so I mean, I guess. Smush and 4x3 are getting paused as well. If there are bugs, there are bugs. I have backlogged the 4x3 boards right now, and frankly, writing them is usually a solace for me. But if we run out, I'm not going to worry about that. So if it just reverts to a static board one day, that'll be that. All these Glupshido bitches think I'm hot. I gotta look. In my defense, as a man, you don't get many compliments. All right. So it's great that I have a way to get compliments. All right. Like, you gotta understand, chat. I lost 20 pounds. 20 pounds. I lost 20 pounds over these last 3 or 4 months. Less than. Probably about 3 months. I busted my ass. Not a single person said anything until I went to my barber 2 days ago, and he's like, "You look good. You've lost a lot of weight." And I was like, finally, somebody said something. Obviously, I've talked about how I've been, like, busting my ass. Gotta get you a feeder, bro. I definitely don't want that. I definitely don't want that. I've talked about how I want a girl that'll eat my fries, but, like, that's not... I don't want the responsibility. I don't want to have to carry that cross, is what I'm saying. I'd rather be the one giving the French fries. Your barber's basically saying you ain't got that big ass head no more. No, my barber is like a sassy gay man too. You know, so getting a compliment from him, I'm like, fuck yeah. Snatch princess. Guys, I'm still like fucking like I'm like 198 right now, all right? I'm not nothing snatched. There's no snatch nothing. I've been watching since the Mama Mac stuff, and yeah, you look great. Well, now I'm fishing for compliments, you know, that's really it. I don't know how to compliment. I'm autistic. You and everybody else here. Get in line. I do deeply want to support Good Store and complexly in whatever way I can. So there may be some stuff on that front. but the reliance on me has always been risky, so we need to build for that as well. I'm sorry for harming the thing that this is all based on. I told the dude, you have a mustache. Was it a good mustache? Yeah, the little guys are getting diagnosed more and more each day. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, that was Hank's response to this. If anything, it does sound like he might have used it for some like script writing, right? I don't know. If he was just using it for research, I'm a little like less give a shitty. But if he's really like a tech guy and he understands like programming and stuff like that, I think it's kind of really dumb that Hank is spending all this time with like ChatGPT rather than running his own model on his own hardware himself, so that way he doesn't give his money and services to Sam Altman, you know? Don't you get loads of compliments from Beckett? I gotta be honest, Beckett's like, you're such a gay F-slur. Or like we were talking about that Bloodborne jacket when it was him, Chris, and myself, and he was like, you're such a, yeah, you would wear that, you bisexual. So it's more like negging than compliments, you know? He did say I was good looking though, so I guess that's fine. Ridiculous. What a bad husband. So I also wanted to talk about one other thing today. He wants you. He wants you bad. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, it's very rare that I get compliments in real life, you know. So I was like, fuck yeah, based poggies. The princess would wear that. So, have you guys heard about what's happening in the Signalis Discord? I kind of want to go on to this. Okay, it's because you ran out of tank tops. I don't wear any tank tops in real life, okay? I just don't think men get complimented as much, to be honest. I'm trying to go... Maybe I'm trying too hard to get complimented. Maybe that's it. You know, I dress nice all the time. I'm sensing an enemies to lovers arc. Oh my god. I haven't played Signalis. I know it's a game for the LGBTQ community of for some reason. I think it's I don't want to describe it as the gay robot horror game, but yeah, there was something that happened, and I'm going to read the post now as a follow-up to the Hank stuff because I didn't think it would cover enough time on stream. And so it's lesbians. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So this is from Joe-tastic. Lesbian robot futurism. That's like all cyberpunk fiction. That's crazy. It's got Doomed Yuri in it. All right. As some of you might have noticed, I'm no longer in the Signalis Discord server. Unfortunately, a few days ago, I was permanently banned, and because of that, I was banned from the Signalis subreddit too. The stated reason was due to illegal actions or breaking Discord TOS, which is a very serious allegation. However, during my appeal, the moderator handling my case explicitly told me the mod team was not accusing me of grooming or doing anything illegal. They explained that they had banned me due to concerns of me accepting a not safe for work commission from someone who had recently turned 18. Before accepting this not safe for work commission, I had explicitly asked if they were over 18, and they told me yes. This commission itself was requested only after they had already turned 18, but I had no idea that their birthday had been so recent. At no point did I have an inappropriate relationship with this person, nor did I send anything not safe for work or explicit before they were 18. Every message I sent was strictly professional, just like every client I've worked with. I would never intentionally break any server rules, and especially Discord TOS. I had known this person just recently turned 18, and that accepting a not safe for work commission from them would result in a ban. Had I had known this, and that accepting a commission from them would result in a ban, I would have declined the commission immediately. What hurts the most isn't losing access to the server, but it's been finding out that the wording of the ban has left people with the wrong impression about me and what actually happened. In the nearly 4 years I've spent on the Signalis Discord server, I've shared many work-in-progress screenshots and videos, shared models and other resources for my fellow animators, collabed with others, and made many friends along the way. The Signalis Discord server has been a huge part of my creative journey, and it really saddens me that this is how my time there has come to an end. I can't believe I'm doing lesbian robot futurism after talking about the implications of AI. Dude, this is the most puppy girl trans coded stream yet. I hope you girlies are happy. How about I just fucking put mouth washing in the corner for you guys? Get you guys really riled up. I'll get one of the dog training clickers. Will that help you guys? There's like one person who's like programming right now who just like looked over and they're like, what the fuck? Put a spinning mouth-washing plushie in the corner. God. Should I put... Hold on, guys. Let me get out the AMV of Serial's Experiments Lane, dude. It's been almost a week since I got banned, despite following up. Still haven't received any further updates or words of my appeal. I don't wish for any ill will towards the moderators or server staff, and I respect whatever decision they ultimately end up with making regarding my ban. I also don't want this post to become the reason for anyone to harass them. My only goal is to explain why I've suddenly disappeared and to clear up any misunderstandings surrounding my ban. If the mod team would still like to continue this conversation, my DMs are always open. I'm more than willing to answer any questions or clarify any concerns. To everyone who has supported my work, blah, 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 seen my models, downloaded my models, commissioned me, collab with me, or been a friend, I just want to say thank you. Your support means a lot to me. I'm truly heartbroken. Things had to end this way. Okay, so an adult commissioned an adult for something, and then as a result, they were banned. So we're going to read the messages now. Dang, Joe, didn't know you had naked RNA. Now I wonder if Naked Empress would be a thing. If you want to commission it, sure. Smiley face. Yeah, a render or animation render. By the way, you're 18 plus now, right? Just double checking. Yes. Okay. Any pose or position in particular? Clothes, not clothes. This is very funny. Reading stuff like this is always interesting. I wonder if Toxic has lots of messages like this. She has to, right? Where it's like, you want your goblin spread eagle or bent over backwards? Shocking everybody. I've never asked for not safe for work commissions. I have talked to many porn creators, but just like in a chatting kind of way, as like, oh, we're friends, or like we're acquaintances, or we're getting to know each other, yada yada. Diesel, I sent you something on Discord. Oh, that's so fucking funny. I don't know how GIFs work on fucking OBS right now, so I won't put it up, but that is very funny. I bet you just becoming friends so you don't have to commission. I commission toxic for the model, and it cost me an arm and a leg. So I don't know about that. I've met many people who make porn in some like regard, and they're always interesting people to speak to. You know. I know somebody who does class. I think I've talked about them. They're like my brother's friend, but I've had the pleasure of meeting them recently, and they make clown porn. This is separate from the other clown porn person that used to exist in commentary. So, and yeah, man, I don't know how you can be a guy and you're like, I'm going to pay money to message this OF model. I don't know how you do it. Just know. It's rough. Dude, I gotta fucking download this image because it's too hard to read. I quit drawing Not Safe for Work. It got too weird for me once I got too many Fuda commissions. Think about how much money you could have made. That's the real thing. All right, here's the mod. All right, here's the mod talking to Joe-tastic. So to try and simplify this, the concerns that led to your ban did involve your relationship to blank, yes. For this case specifically, about how you were making a Not Safe for Work comm for someone who was barely 18. Yeah, it's funny because people act like porn creators are strange people, but they're surprisingly normal folk. The freaks are actually just the freaks in the sub community. Yeah, well, I've definitely ran into a colorful character or two, but yeah, most of the time they're just like normal fucking people. Granted, some of the people that make porn got at least 1 or 2 screws loose. You know, I think there's some of the I feel like there's a higher propensity of those with screws loose these days. Let's see. I hope you don't mind me asking for a more detailed explanation rather than simplified summary. This is the Not Safe for Work commission you did recently for blank, yes? Yes, correct. From my perspective, this was a client-commissioner relationship. Before accepting any Not Safe for Work commission, I asked if she was above 18, and she told me yes. I was not aware of her exact birthday or that she had only recently turned 18. The only thing I knew was that I had a rough idea she may have been a minor around a year ago. Right. I forgot to mention that Makey said com for a barely 18 user did make both the mod team and a few members within the community concerned. Though I figure you may not know that since you mentioned it in one of the other mods. I'd argue that if you have all your screws tight, you are in fact not normal, and it was swung the opposite way. Lol. Most normal people are like 2 screws loose type of people. That's true. Maybe it's. I don't think we've talked about this person, KJ, but I definitely need to fill you in. I need to fill you in on this character I've met, but I don't want to do it on stream because I don't want people to know who they are. Because so this person made a commission for an adult, and they are infantilizing an adult. To be clear, okay? That is what they are doing. You are infantilizing an adult. All right. Let's see. She turned 18 sometime last month. I have a rough idea about why I was banned without any official mod confirmation. All the info I gotten seems inconsistent. Well, this is the official mod confirmation. This mod, Discord mods getting overzealous. Many such cases. Sorry, you're barely 21, so I don't feel right serving you this drink. This mod's logic. Yeah, how many 21-year-olds go out the day they turn 21 to a bar and get a drink? Like, that's like a thing people do, you know. Now, I probably should have said this earlier. I just want to clarify. We are not calling you a groomer or anything extreme like that. To clarify, this mod is calling you that. All right? Stop. I hate it when people do this, where they talk out of both sides of their mouth like this. You are calling them that. You just do not want to go the extra step that requires you to be, like, a little bit more of an asshole. Yeah, it's a commission. They aren't going out of their way to be creepy to a kid. See, they're not accusing the artist of anything illegal. They're just stringing words together that implies something illegal, like grooming. Wow. It's almost like they are doing that. It's almost like that thing I say all the time, where it's like you can say the thing without saying the thing, right? Like you could say something without saying something, and you think you're really slick by giving a sneak diss like that, but you're just actually doing the thing. Thanks for the clarification about that. This is a very serious accusation, and I'm glad you confirmed that was not the case. But one of the reasons I heard I was banned from Signalis Cord was for breaking Discord TOS. If grooming or any other extreme reason weren't the case, what Discord TOS did I break? Frankly, we felt like this whole thing was very adjacent to the community guideline parts of what not to send to minors, which is why the rule was listed in the banned reason. Of course, that can be amended. I only accepted and sent the Not Safe for Work commission to blank after confirming she was 18 plus. Before that, I never broke Discord TOS by sending her anything explicit or sexual through DMs. All right, I get that. I'll pass this along to the rest of the mod team. Perhaps consider removing that part from your ban reason. We can continue this tomorrow as I have to sleep. Thanks for passing on the info. I'm happy to continue this next time. I'd like to hear and clarify any reasons behind the ban so I can better understand and address any concerns the mod team has. And then they check in and they didn't answer. Yeah, this does feel like they were looking for an antecedent. Absolutely. Absolutely. They were looking for a reason to get rid of him. Rather than... No, I honestly feel like it's totally possible for somebody from the Signalis community, and more so a moderator from the Signalis community, to have the... adult minors perspective of somebody who turns 18 or older, right? I don't know. The commissioner was 100% the Discord kitten of the mod team. I don't want to invoke Diesel's law too early. I mean, I guess this is already invoked. Diesel's law is already on the table by nature of the very topic at hand. Oh, this is interesting. From an outside perspective, it might have been that they were looking for a case according to a former moderator. Interesting. Hold on. Let me take a gander at this. This is between them and an ex-mod. Let's see. I just want to extend my condolences regarding the SIG Cord ban. I was a mod for ages and was fired partly for an entirely personal disagreement with a small and extremely vocal subset of the team. So I have some experience with their questionable decision making. But the irresponsible way they handled this and the implication it had for your public image is so unacceptable. Hope you're doing okay. They quite literally decide they don't like somebody before they find a reason to ban them, and I've seen this multiple times. They gossip about people in private and then find a bunch of random things to stack up against you, and I've been doing this for ages. When I stood up to it, they kicked me off the team. The team is largely controlled by a small clique who run the server based on what they, as a friend group, like or do not like, not based on actual principles of safe spaces and social justice. Like the, you made porn for an adult, but we don't think they were enough of an adult, is a blatantly ridiculous reason for a ban. And if they give you more reasons, I do strongly suspect it'll be fairly flimsy reason, just lay it on top of each other. Almost certainly things they could have raised with you earlier, but didn't. Oof. Yeah, I am tired. It's past my bedtime. I'm still going, though. I'm going strong. Sounds really unprofessional way of handling things, to be honest. Instead of banning people for breaking the rules, they're finding reasons just to ban people they don't like. I'm mostly over it. Frankly, the server is not what it was when I became a mod anymore, but it's still pretty bitter given I had no ability to defend myself and was largely ignored by every person within the power to combat the decision. And apparently my firing wasn't even considered by the whole group, but by some random subset of almost certainly just the group who personally dislike me. All I can say, I empathize with your position. Shit's unfair. No wonder Yuri and Babs constantly post like, there's no official Signalis Discord server. If you find any decent alternatives, let me know. Haha. So from what you said, it sounds like a big clique of moderators can effectively remove people, and then they're just talking about it. Okay. The Sleeping Princess. Yeah, it does seem like they were removed for a very dumb reason. For a very dumb reason. Did they post any more about it? No fucking way this person's the one who did this. Holy shit. I did not know that they were the person who did this. They did the fucking Anya dancing with the music. They did that. That's crazy. Wow. Fuck. I'm very curious to see what the Not Safe for Work Commission was. I feel like this is a very interesting type of art to make. It doesn't look very goonable, is what I'm saying. It doesn't look very goonable. These will be like, show me that Not Safe for Work, please. Where is it? I was curious. Were you not curious to see what they commissioned? Would you not be curious? Oh, I found it. All right, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I could probably even show this on stream. I found it. I found it. It's not. If you would just put this in front of me with zero context, I'd be like, I don't know what's happening. Are they kissing each other? It's because it's like low poly PS1 Yuri. Okay, I don't. It's hard to like really break into figuring out what's going on here. Let me see. No, you can go find it yourself. Hold on, what's this? This is fucking stupid. There's a different internet out there for these individuals. I'm definitely not from it. Okay. People are gooning to PS1 porn? Yes. People are gooning to PS1 porn. I can't I can show you, but I can't play the music. It's this. That's funny. Jesus Christ. That's funny. Dude, if Hank Green made Futanari, that would be crazy work. No, that's not what they commissioned. That's not what they commissioned, but that is their art. So, yeah, not for me, for sure, but oh, I'm glad someone paid money for that. To be clear, this is kind of the style of the time, and will soon be a that was the style at the time type of thing. But I don't think anybody paid for that meme, but somebody definitely did commission the Yuri. I see the Yuri. I see what they commissioned. Okay. The art is not that overly graphic. There is definitely something sexual happening in the art. But like, you know, it's not like they're eating each other's boxes. You know what I mean? The Signalis robot lady is kissing the angel one on the chest. I don't know who the characters are. So, take that for what you will. There is a white one and a black one, and the black one is kissing the chest of the white one. And there is some implied coitus, but it is difficult to tell. It is difficult. I would not know unless pointed out to me. I would think that it's they're fully clothed is what I'm saying. Okay. Can you stop being racist with your Yuri Diesel? She wears black armor. Okay, it's like Makoto Kusanagi in her onesie, dude. It's August 1st. God, I forgot I was being rage baited for a second. Yeah. Well, that was interesting. Hopefully Frank Green learns to write without AI, I guess. Right? I don't know. Be great if this... In closing, it would be very nice if technology was used for more specific reasons instead of us trying to make the everything box that jerks you off and solves all the problems in the universe. I think it's okay. I think it's okay that you have a toaster that just toasts, not a toaster that's also a toaster oven. Things can be one thing. You don't need to have things be two things. Okay. And that's it. That's the tweet. That's the tweet. All right. And the real Hank was the robot Yuri we made along the way. Yeah, that's the truth here. That's the truth. Yeah, I mean, I'd like a box that could jerk me off, not gonna lie. Well, do I got good news for you. But what if I want my fridge to also be a TV? You don't want that. You don't know what you want. And I think you shouldn't ask for that, is what I'm saying. Okay? I think things should be one thing. I think no TV in the kitchen. All right? No TV in the kitchen. Okay? We need to move on to better functioning, longer term items that aren't annoying. Okay? AI just needs to be the thing that does one thing. It doesn't need to be the thing that does everything. All right? And also, let's fucking stop killing the planet with it. That's really it. And also pay me my 10 cents for the tweet you used to train Grok. We're screaming towards idiocracy and we're all watching. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like AI could be more ethical too. Like, I feel like it could exist. The technology is there and it could be useful for those specific use cases like I've mentioned, but it's like, it's annoying that it doesn't end up being that, and that these guys seem more obsessed with being oligarchs that live forever, but that's getting more into my like personal beliefs. I do think a lot of the push for AI, by the way, from these billionaires is them having this sycophantic want, or no, psychotic want to live forever. They want their consciousness like uploaded into an AI so that way they could like live forever as like AI gods in the machine. I think a lot of them are like that. I think Peter Thiel is like that. He funded the enhanced games. I think that guy actually wants to live forever. I think he actually wants to become a god. Okay? Or like we all live in a matrix and we all serve them. That's why I think they pour a lot of money into this. I think that's like their big end game. I think that's also why they talk a lot about like wanting to like that it could end the world or something. I don't know. Computer, show me Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, everybody's trying to make the Torture Nexus, but nobody says they want to make the Torture Nexus. More Diesel opinion rants. This is my favorite part of the stream. I don't know. I don't think people want that? I feel like I just talk about nonsense all the time. God, I can't believe it. We got Mexican Hassan before we got a woman president. I can't stand him, but I think we probably agree on things, which is annoying. Diesel, when are you going to come clean about your Anthropic stocks? If I had stocks in Anthropic, I wouldn't be streaming right now because I'd be rich. All right? Wait, Anthropic hasn't gone public. I will say, though, I wish I invested in Palantir back in 2020 because I would have been so fucking rich if I listened to Wall Street Bets. I could have also lost money listening to Wall Street Bets, but I'm so mad that I remember reading about Palantir on Wall Street Bets and going, stupid technology that would never do anything. You're Mexican? I thought you said you were Puerto Rican. I was Flanderizing myself. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. I was. You know, we're all the same Latino at heart. You know, we all have the same trauma. You said you like streaming for the streaming and not the money. I like both. Things can be two things. This is different than the other thing. Ridiculous. We all get the chancla, bro. Dude, the chancla builds character. Builds character. See, I pulled double duty because I also went to a Catholic school, you know. I got chancla and ruler. You think chancla's bad? Wait till you meet his brother, the ruler. That's 12 inches of pure pain. Yes, that was intentional. We all get the joke. That was the joke. There you go. Boom. Chancla, ruler, and scary nuns. Really explains everything. That's the name of my sex tape. Yeah, with the BBC, the British Big Cock. Beckett. I'm going to bed.